Welcome to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, and in this dynamic series, we dive into the challenges, breakthroughs, and victories of entrepreneurs who have turned their passion into success. Welcome. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Lady Jen Du Plessis. I am your host. Welcome to Business on the Vine. And today with me, I have, and I just wrote down his name, Mark Struczewski, who is known as Mr. Productivity. And by the way, if you're going to look this up, don't do MR period, do MISTER. That's how you'll find him. And that his brand and mission as an executive coach, he's dedicated to helping high achievers cut through the chaos, double with real output, right? With their real output and protect their lives from burnout. I love that so much. Since launching his podcast called the Mr. Productivity Podcast, he's done over 1,300 episodes, and I know that you'll be delighted to find out about that. I can't wait for that. But he coaches and guides executives, entrepreneurs, and leaders through a 90-day transformation using his proven CUT, cut the chaos. Well, he'll be talking about a little bit about that as we move along here today. So whether on stage or coaching through the podcast, his goal is simple: give leaders the tools to gain clarity, momentum, and the big thing for me, freedom. I absolutely love that. So welcome to the show, Mark. We're so happy to have you.
Lady Jen, it is an honor to be here to speak to you and your audience and equip them with tactics so they can be less overwhelmed and enjoy their life more.
Yeah. So, and look, this is exactly what I'm going for, right? I have a strategy called stop working in and on your business and start living above and beyond it for the very same reason, right? But I think that the way that we approach this is probably quite different. But before we get started with that, would you share with us how you got to the point where you'd had enough? You must have burnt out. You must have said there's a better way. Enlighten us a little bit on how you got to where you are now, helping others do that as well.
I don't want it to come off the wrong way, but I've never felt overwhelmed. I've never felt burnout. What happened was someone saw a gift in me a number of years ago that I was with my first coach after I lost my job at corporate America back in 2005. And I decided and didn't want to go back to corporate America. I wanted to be my own thing. But I couldn't figure out what I wanted to talk about. And this person told me, well, why don't you talk about productivity? I'm like, well, where did that come from? That's weird. He goes, I know a lot of people, and you are naturally gifted at being productive. You should share that gift with the world. And I didn't know you could do that kind of thing. But as I began to really dive into the pool of productivity, I see so many people overwhelmed. Now, I'm known as Mr. Productivity, as you said, but no one's ever come to me and says, hey, Mark, I want to be more productive. They come to me and they say, holy cow, I am so overwhelmed. And I'm like, all right. I'm also a fan of simplicity. So I had to figure out a way to simplify the process of getting unoverwhelmed. Because if I come on your show and give you 19 ways to not be overwhelmed, well, that in itself is overwhelming.
Overwhelmed all by itself. Yeah.
I believe simplicity is better than complexity. And I know if I give your listeners one small thing to do, they're going to go, oh, I could do that. That's easy. Then they start getting the big mo on them side, the big momentum. And that's what I love to do.
Yeah, I love that. So what do you think is more important in productivity, at least what you've observed is, do you think it's dealing with distractions, or do you think it's about being intentional and focused? Where do you think it lies mostly with people?
I'm going to say neither. The big thing that I have discovered over the last couple of years in terms of productivity is health and wellness. If you are not taking care of yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically, it's really difficult to be productive. And when I first stumbled across this, I'm like, what does health and wellness have to do with productivity? And I realized everything.
Everything.
Because if you're 600 pounds overweight, you smoke 20 cartons of cigarettes a day, how can you be productive? You have no energy. If you're not sleeping well because you're staying up all hours of the night and doing all kinds of things with illicit drugs and what have you, you can't be productive. So I've been focusing the last year or so on getting your physical and emotional and spiritual health lined up. Because when you do that, then you can start working on okay, I have distractions over here, or I have things I don't want to do over here. But if you're not in the right space, Tony Robbins calls it the right state, it's really difficult to be productive.
Yeah. Oh, I totally would agree. I mean, we were just talking about this in the green room. I said, I'm still sick. We both took a sip of water to me. Like, hopefully I can make it through this. I've been sick for a couple months and it just keeps, I have a petri dish grandson who keeps bringing it back and forth and back and forth. And he doesn't live here, but you would think he does. And yeah, it's affected the productivity. It's affected my thinking. It's just clouded sort of thinking. And I have to write everything down, which I didn't used to have to do. I could just do. So it's kind of interesting that that's happening. So when it comes to business, because this is business on the vine, right? These are some of the things that we're learning behind the scenes on how you've become successful so that others can be successful in those varying areas. What do you recommend when someone feels that they're heading toward burnout or they're lacking sleep or they wake up panicked in the middle of the night going, I'm so exhausted? Because you're right. They don't say, I want to be more productive. They say, I can't do this anymore. What's the first step in modifying your health related to that?
It's a word that Congress doesn't know how to say, and that's the word no. We need to say, okay, you know what? I don't feel right today. I am not going to be able to serve my clients or my employer well today. So I'm going to say no to today. I am going to take today off. And this applies whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, you work in the corporate world. Maybe you just need to take the day off. Maybe you just need to binge watch Netflix all day. Maybe you need to go to a park and just watch the kids play. Maybe you just need to go hang out at Starbucks. But what happens is, what I see a lot of my clients is they're pushing the rope. They're like, I don't feel like doing it, but I still got to do it. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
you sprained your ankle, would you still go out and run the marathon? No, you take
Right.
care of your ankle. And I think people have got to give themselves permission to say no and also
Mm-hmm.
have to give themselves grace. I am Mr. Productivity. I am not productive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have good days and bad days. And guess what? Spoiler alert, everybody does.
Right. That's correct.
Anybody comes to me and says, I'm always productive. You're what's known as a liar because you're going to have bad days because you're a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you're saying about, taking that time for yourself and doing a reset. I always say you're skating on thin ice, if not, right? If you're not, you have to be really careful. And there's another phrase I say, you have to slow down so you can speed up instead of speeding up to slow down. And there's this glorification of busyness and of workaholicism and I was a product of all of those things, right? So I don't go back into those. I try not to do that at all. I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? I'm just saying we don't do it at all. I love
One of the
I,
things I do,
yeah.
one of the things I do is I determine early on how many clients can I have as coaching clients during the day on a particular day where I
Mm-hmm.
can serve them to my best to the best of my ability. And that number is going to shock a lot of people who hear this. It's two. If I go
Wow.
to third client, I realize I'm not giving that third client my best. So I cut it off at two. I'm not trying to be an Elon Musk multi-quadrillionaire. I want to serve every client to the best of my ability. So I tried 5 clients, 4 clients, 3 clients, and then two seems to be the sweet spot. They're getting more of my attention, but I am fully there. I'm fully focused. I never do back-to-back calls. So if I have a coaching client at 10, I won't do it at 11. I may do it at 1 o'clock. I may want to go out in the backyard. I live in Houston, Texas. Maybe do some reading, maybe jump on my rebounder, maybe go for a walk, because that's
Yeah.
going to get me prepared mentally and physically for my next client call. And that really is important to me because I want my clients to walk away saying, wow, I felt like I was his only client today because he's fully focused. I've had those coaches where they were taking clients at
Next.
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You're the last client of the day, and you could tell they're out of energy. And
Yeah.
I never want my clients to experience that.
Yeah, that's interesting. So increasing your own awareness of your energy levels as it is. I know as a podcaster, I can't do more than 2 interviews a day because I do 10 a week. Right. And I'm not going to do them all in a day. And I know people that do it. I only do a podcast interviews on Mondays. And I'm like, God, why? Because then you don't have the curiosity even. You start getting into a rhythm and the show isn't as fun, isn't as exciting. Yeah, I love that you're saying that. So how do we avoid distractions though in between? Because if you have a call at one, 2 calls a day and you have an hour and a half in between each call, if you can, now look, take baby steps, just take 15 minutes between a call or take a half an hour between a call. But if you're able to do that, how do you avoid distractions that kind of suck you into what would have been some time for yourself to reset, think, maybe do some admin things, those types of things. How do you avoid that? How do you deal with them? How do you even deal with distractions? Do you say no again?
I teach something to my clients and to my audiences called the ODAY Method, ODAE. And what it stands for is, you and I were talking about before you hit record, we love acronyms. So
yeah.
ODAY is an acronym, stands for Outsource, Delegate, Automate, and Eliminate. And here's what you do. For about 2 days, you carry a notebook around you. Don't go buy a special notebook or get a special app. Just write down everything you do. And then when you think you've got about 85, 90% of what you do, I want you to set that list aside for a day. Then I want you to gift yourself about 90 minutes, and I want you to sit down with your list, and I want you to go through it 4 times. Now, I know a lot of people who are super aggressive. They're going to try to do it one swath. It doesn't work. One pass, go through every list and go, can this be outsourced? Yes or no? If it can, put an O next to it. Then do the list again. Can it be delegated? Now, I know outsourcing and delegating is a kind of gray area, but just go with me here. Then go through a third time. Write an A next to anything that can be automated. And then the 4th time, write an E next to everything that can be eliminated. Now, here's the thing. Here's where the magic happens. You actually outsource everything you put an O next to. You actually delegate everything you put a D next to it. You put an A, you go on automate everything you can automate. We live in 2026. No reason why you can't automate things. And my favorite letter is E. A lot of us are doing stuff we don't need to be doing anymore, just because we've always done it that way. And what's left on the list is what you should be doing. Now, this is where you take it to the next level. Next time someone asks you to do something, you automatically run the ODAY method through your head and say, wait, well, before I commit to this, can this be outsourced, delegated, automated, or do I even have to do it?
Right.
The object is, once you do the ODAY exercise and you get all the stuff off your plate, you don't want to fill it up again. You want to keep the stuff you're really, really good at and have everybody else or automation do it for you. And it's really important because people start doing that. When I have clients go through this, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I reduced my list by 75% because they finally outsourced, delegated, automated, eliminated all this other stuff. They go, I actually have time to do the stuff I want to get done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it boils down to your business should be able to create freedom for yourself and not bog you down and consume your life. And that's, as business owners. So everybody listen in, you are a business owner now. You're stepping into this role, or you've been a business owner and you now are maxed out. Can't go any further. It's time to let go so you can grow. It's time for you to get to that point where you can delegate more often. And it's hard. So let's talk about this for a second. What have you found with entrepreneurs who, I should come up with a way for this, are delegation adverse? Because I can do it all. They can't do it as good as me.
My name is Mr. Productivity, and I'm a control freak. So I actually came up with this exercise for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to let anybody else do anything. But I found out, guess what? I'm a human being. I am not AI, and I can only do too much. And so I came up with this to help myself to go, wait a minute, why are you doing all this stuff?
Yeah.
You have a zone of genius. I should be focusing on my zone of genius, and everything else that still needs to get done, except for the E's, we need to get rid of those. You need to outsource, delegate, or automate them so you can really focus and do a really stellar job on what you're really good at.
Yeah. So let's talk about being focused, because I have clients that I move through something very similar and they now have nothing left to do, right? They're twiddling their thumbs to say, I don't know what to do. I don't want you to create drama for people. Don't start creating drama and creating more in your business, right? Don't do that. But they're now saying, okay, so I can be super focused in one thing and I'm done for the day. Now what do I do? So they walk themselves back into the distraction. They muddy the waters sometimes. What do you want to say to those listening here on how to stay focused, be productive in it, and not be in a situation where you're just going back and forth time after time?
Well, if you feel like you've done the things you need to do and you've run out of work, I want you to avoid getting those things back from the people you've already outsourced or delegated, or goodness gracious, don't take them off automation. But I don't know. Here's a crazy idea. Maybe you should ask yourself, is there a skill I want to learn? Because there's
Yes.
a lot of books and a lot of courses and a lot of coaches out there. So maybe you say, I have some time. I've never had this time before, but I've always wanted to learn X. You know what? I'm going to go out
Yeah.
and learn X. I've got the time now.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Very good. Yeah. I call that beyond. What is your beyond? I don't know. Eating bonbons, doing the Netflix thing every morning. I'm going to do that, or every Tuesday, I'm going to, whatever the case may be. Yeah. I love that. So I know, did you want to say anything else about health before we move on to your productivity scoreboard?
Yeah, tell people the best thing you can do is what I call to take a micro break. All the micro
Yeah.
break is you go outside and for 5 minutes you stay off your device. You don't think about what you did, what you're working on, or what you're gonna work on. You're just quiet. But what if it's cold? Grab a jacket. What if it's raining? Grab an umbrella. I've gone outside in my backyard when it's 21 degrees.
Yeah.
What it does is it just gives your brain a chance to go, and
Ah,
just relax. I've had people say, "You tell me if I can see the finish line, but I'm really overwhelmed. I should take a 5 minute break." I say, "Go ahead and try it and tell me what happens." And whatever, they always come back and tell me the same thing. They're like, "You know what? I was gonna fight it, but then I decided what Coach Mark said. I took a 5 minute break and I sailed across the finish line instead of crawling on hands and knees, battered and bruised and bleeding." So just a 5 minute break is going to give your brain the break that you so desperately need, that you don't realize you need.
yeah, I think that's amazing. And I do that too. I subscribe to that. I found out the name is different though. I call it a vibration plate, but I think it's called something else now. Someone corrected me on it. But in between calls, I'll stand on that vibration plate and allow for my body
Okay.
to vibrate, and just get whoo, get the blood flowing. Under my desk. I have a bicycle. I'm riding it right now. I've been riding it the whole time we've been talking. And I'm
Nice.
riding a bicycle. I think just those little bits of pieces, even reading 10 minutes of a Bible, or 10 minutes of something, affirmation wise, just sets things up, differently. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So take that to heed, everyone. Take that to heed. Do you believe in, and you may not know that the word for this, I call it the 50-10 method. Do you believe in the 50-10 method? I believe in working for 50 minutes and then taking a 10-minute break. Is that the strategy for you? Or when you're saying 5 minutes, how frequently should someone be doing the 5 minutes?
I do believe in it, but I don't believe in the 50-10. I believe everyone needs to figure out what their
For them?
rhythm should be. And
Yeah.
maybe it be 25-5, which is the classic Pomodoro technique. Maybe yours
Hmm.
is 50-10. Maybe yours
Yeah.
is 60-90. Maybe
Yeah.
yours is 45-20.
Yeah.
Figure out, experiment. Listener, experiment
And
what
feel your
works for
body.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Feel your body. As business owners, we tend to, especially with business on the vine, as we're talking here, the song heard it through the grapevine. You don't want to hear these types of things. A lot of times you want to just hear, give me the strategy so my business is successful. But this is the foundation of your business, is making sure that you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I
And
want to point out
yeah,
something that no matter what sport you like, American football, I like European football. We call it here soccer in the United States.
yeah, yeah,
Hockey, basketball. When they go back to training camp, it doesn't matter if you're LeBron James or Tom Brady. You go back to the basics. You throw the ball, you dunk the ball, you go back to the basics. So if the professional sports players are going back to the basics every training camp, we as business owners need to keep going back to the basics so we make sure our foundation is strong, that it's solid. Don't keep going to higher levels and have your foundation crumble. You have to keep
yes,
coming
yeah,
back and going, is my foundation stable? No, I need to fix this area over here.
yeah.
Otherwise, if you build too high and your foundation's weak, it's all going to
It'll
come
topple
crumbling
over.
down.
Yeah, absolutely. Great visual on that. So I know one of the things that you have for our listeners is a productivity scorecard, because everyone's wondering, well, I wonder how productive I am. Am I where do I sit in this spectrum of productivity? Because we all think we're great, right? We all think, oh, we're productive. We're productive, at least in specific areas, right? So I know that you have this beautiful gift. So tell us a little bit about the scorecard. Is this a scorecard of I'm suck at this because I'm so bad at it, or is it just an awakening for us? What does it do?
It's 10 questions
Okay.
and it gives you 10 statements, and you just rank yourself. I do this all the time, or I never do it, or I do it sometime. Because I believe that you can't solve a problem until you're aware of a problem. And
No,
I've had
so
productivity
important.
people take the score. Nobody's got a 50 out of 50. And breaking and lose, no one's got a 5 out of 50. But here's the thing, the scorecard is going to reveal to you where your weaknesses are. Now you can say, okay, now I know what my weaknesses are. Now I can start figuring out how to solve these weaknesses. But if you don't know what your weaknesses are, we have this bad habit as human beings. We tell ourselves stories. It's not that bad, but it really is. And so
It is. Yeah.
the productivity scorecard is a simple way. It's 100% free, just to see where you are right now. But I will caution you, if you're not honest, it doesn't work. You have to be honest. And the only people that's going to see the score is you and me, or if you share it with other people. But it's really
Yeah.
going to give you an assessment to go, wow, okay, I need to fix this area.
Right. Okay. So I want you to do that quote again. You can't solve a problem until you know there is a problem. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Be-
Love
because
that.
because and it doesn't just apply to productivity. It applies to every
Anything.
area of your life. If you are
Mhm.
denying the problem, denial is a river in Egypt. Okay, if you're in denial, you're never going to be able to solve the problem. You
Yes.
need to say, I have a problem. And I think,
Mhm.
was it a famous actor back in the day said, showing up is half the battle. Once you show up, okay, now you just get the work done. But I see a
Right.
lot of people make an excuse. They get on a call with me and they try to make excuses. I'm like, okay, I have been studying for many years now successful people. I've yet to find someone who got successful by making excuses. So
That's
stop your
right.
excuses, stop your whining, and get the job done.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, I was going to ask you, is there anything you want to leave us with? I think that was it. Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
No,
This one here?
I choose simplicity over complexity. Choose
Beautiful.
positivity over negativity. I identify as Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. I'm this annoyingly optimistically happy because I love life. Every day is a gift. And I just say, don't be an Eeyore. If you have Eeyores in your life, and we all do, just spend less
Ugh,
time with them. You want to spend time with Winnie the Poohs, just wear pants, or
right.
Piglet, Christopher Robin, or Tigger. But try to distance yourself from Eeyores, because Eeyores, well, nothing's going to work out. It's always
They're
going to
gonna
rain. It's
they're gonna pull that productivity. Yeah, they're gonna pull that from you. I mean, that's like the energy bus, right? The vampires, letting the vampires get on your bus. Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Mark. We'll have the link below, everybody, so you can get that productivity scoreboard that he is giving to you complimentary. Take advantage of it. This is all about learning how to have a business and run a business from all aspects. It's not just operation and marketing and all that kind of serving your clients. This is the ins and outs of business from front to end. So we thank you for watching. Go on over to YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can hear more about this. And Mark, again, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today and sharing with us all of these great ideas on productivity. And I know we've just touched the surface, but we want to make it simple. So with that, we're going to be out. Thanks, Mark. Thank you for joining us on Business on the Vine. If you found value in today's conversation and would like additional support, go to supportfromjen.com. Remember, the best ideas are always discovered on the vine. So keep innovating, stay inspired, and continue to grow.